Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trends. My name is Stephanie Bria. I'm a transgender woman and I do all things horror. And today I'm doing something different than a review. Today I'm giving you my top 25 horror movies of all time. I wanted to do something special this week because Friday the 13th is coming up in a few days and I wanted to have something out there for y'all to watch. So these are movies that I recommend. I will review these all eventually, rinse or buys. Most of these are going to be buys if these are the greatest movies of all time, greatest horror movies of all time, obviously. Number 25 is a relatively new movie. Full disclosure, don't watch a lot of movies of any genre after around 2005. I keep up with the superhero movies and I keep up with the big blockbuster like franchises. That's about it. Like, I don't really watch a lot of indie movies. I don't watch a lot of smaller movies. I don't watch a lot of horror movies. So Oculus is number 25 is Oculus. It is a find for me. I found it on Netflix. And I just watched it one day. It was in my recommended list, recommended for you. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. Oculus is about a mirror that is possessed. But I don't want to tell you too much about it because that would spoil the movie. So that's all you need to know. It's about a demon-possessed mirror. Or spirit-possessed. We'll just say possessed. Number 24 is Tremors. Tremors is a fan-fucking-tastic monster movie about these giant slug, leeches, snakes, things that come out of the ground and eat people. It is awesome. I grew up in a small town in Nevada just like this town. We had casinos, but take away the casinos and it was this town. One grocery store, little general store is what it was called, one gas station, a liquor store, and that was it. We didn't even have a fucking dollar store. So this movie hits home. Hits me in the heart. Makes me reminisce my childhood. So, Tremors is just fucking fantastic. I love it. I highly recommend Tremors. It's a great movie. Number 23 is, I'm not going to say his name. It's Tony Todd, and it's a guy who comes out of the mirror. You can figure it out from there. I've said his name too goddamn many times in the last review. And I live in a house of mirrors, and I am a superstitious witch who does believe in mirror magic. So, yeah, that's number 23. Number 22 is Saw. Saw is a wicked-ass fucking movie. Holy shit. When Saw... There's very few movies when they come on the scene you can say they changed horror. Saw is one of those rare movies that it changed horror. You couldn't go back to the old days after Saw came out. You couldn't just get away with a cheesy slasher or a pansy-ass ghost story. You had to have some meat and potatoes in your movie now. You know? And, that's all thanks to Saw. Saw is bloody as fuck. It's gory. It's suspenseful. It's scary. It's good. It's damn good. The first one. We'll talk about the sequels when we get there. Number 21 is Jeepers Creepers. I recommend this movie with a caveat. The caveat being the filmmaker who made it was a convicted sexual predator. So if you buy this movie, you are giving money to a convicted sexual predator. So there's the caveat. The movie is about we'll just say a giant bat monster, like a Batman. It's about a Batman who lives in a cave, who comes to life every so many years and gets to feast on bodies. And it's a young boy and his sister going on a road trip, and they get stalked by the Batman. And he, kills people along the way, trying to get to the boy or the girl, whichever one it is he wants. But it's a good movie. It's legitimately scary. I'll give it that. There's not a lot of horror movies that are scary, so... Anyways, next up, number 20, Scream. Scream is another one that changed the horror franchise forever. And it also deconstructed and changed slasher movies forever. Now, I'm not a fan of the way they say scary movies. Quote, what's your favorite scary movie? As in, horror movies have to be scary, and all movies that are scary have to be horror movies. No. Come on. That's a nitpick. That's a minor nitpick. This is made by the master himself, Wes Craven, and he did a damn good job on this. Number 19 is The Fly. This is the one with Jurassic Park dude. I forgot his name. It'll come to me. Anyways, this is the one from 1986. This is the remake. Very creepy, very intense, very suspenseful, very graphic. Not gory, but graphic. Very good movie. Number 18, I'm going to cheat. Number 18 is The Hills Have Eyes. Pick your poison, the original or the remake. They're both damn good. They'll both satisfy you. Pick your poison. The Hills Have Eyes is a movie about cannibals. Warning, content warning, there's rape in this movie. And it's brutal. But, you know, sometimes that happens in horror movies. Number 17 is The Conjuring. The Conjuring is in my top 10 scariest movies of all time. It took me 3 days to watch The Conjuring. I would watch it until I got scared out of my mind and turn it off, take a day off, catch my breath, come back, try again. It took me 3 days to watch The Conjuring. This movie's so fucking scary. You need to see The Conjuring. It is that fucking good. Number 16 is Seven, the movie Seven. Now, this is not, some would argue this isn't a horror movie. It's more of a suspense thriller. It's a crime thriller for sure. It's a serial killer movie. But it's really good. You got this serial killer who's murdering people, and he's doing them in the style of the Seven Deadly Sins. And you got these two cops who are investigating the murders, and one of them is Brad Pitt, and I don't remember the other one. Now, this one has a caveat as well. It has Kevin Spacey in it, and so that may turn some people off because he's not a convicted pedophile, but he was accused, and he most likely did it, but we'll let the court of law do its business. So some people might want to avoid it just for that alone, but it's a damn good movie. Number 15 is Friday the 13th Part 3, the one in 3D, and I have to specify that because as you watch this movie, if you don't know it's shot in 3D, it doesn't make a fucking lick of sense because it's got some stupid shots that only work in 3D. But it's it's one of the better Friday the 13th movies. This is the one where Jason gets his mask, so it's really good. Got some really good kills. This is the first in the franchise that has likable characters you're rooting for, and you're kind of shocked when they die, but you're also rooting for Jason, so you're kind of like happy to see them die at the same time. Number 14 is Hellraiser 2. I put this one on the list because Hellraiser 2 is just a fan-fucking-tastic movie. It's bloodier than the first, it's gorier than the first, it's scarier than the first, and it expands on the lore quite a bit. Number 13 is Stephen King's It. Now, this is the original It with Tim Curry and all those soap opera stars that you don't remember their names, but you recognize them if your mom watched soap operas like mine did. This also goes in my top ranking of scariest movies of all time. I'm terrified, deathly terrified of clowns, and I'm deathly terrified of spiders, and this is a fucking spider who dresses up like a goddamn killer clown. You can't get fucking scarier than that. Number 12 is Alien, the original. This is the only Alien movie I will classify as horror. The rest of them are just pure sci-fi action all the way around. But this one is straight up a slasher movie in space. This is the best slasher movie in space. Number 11 is the original Hellraiser. Now, even though the sequel outdid it in almost every way, this one's better in tone, pacing, and story. This one sets everything up. And it's a fucking classic. And like I said in my other video where I reviewed Hellraiser, the fucking resurrection scene is just one of the greatest scenes in all of horror. Number 10 is Freddy vs. Jason. Come on, this had to make the list. It's fucking Nightmare on Elm Street meets Friday the 13th. The two biggest horror franchises in horror coming together. You can't ask for a better movie than this. Number 9 is controversial for two reasons. One, because some people argue it's not a horror movie, and other people say it is. And it's controversial that I'm a trans woman. It's controversial because it kind of disparages trans women in a way. But I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to call it what it is. It is Silence of the Lambs. It's pretty fucking scary. And it's more of a suspense thriller than a true horror, but it's, it made the list. Number 8 is American Psycho. This is by far my most favorite, what I would classify as modern horror. Although it's not modern by today's standards. It came out in 1999, so to me it's modern. But this is like the first, I would say this is probably the best post-Scream horror movie, if that makes sense. It's about a yuppie who lives in New York, who's a mega rich dude who's just so fucking bored with his life that he just murders people at night just to have something to do. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty gory. He mostly kills other yuppies, but he also kills hookers for fun because, you gotta have sex in a horror movie. Number 7, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This is by far the best of the Friday the 13th. This is the one to watch. This is the one to rewatch. This is the one introduces zombie Jason. This is the only one with a full cast of likable characters and that actually have personalities, individual, fully developed personalities, which is very fucking rare for a slasher movie. They're usually cardboard cutouts. But this one actually does a good job building up the teenagers right before it, offs them. Number 6 is The Faculty. The Faculty is an alien invasion movie, kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but it's better than Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Take your pick. It's better than all of them. It has a lot of faces you're going to recognize if you grew up in the 90s. Most notably, Josh Hartnett, Famke Jensen, also the guy who played Frodo. I always forget his fucking name. Anyways, the guy who played Frodo from The Lord of the Rings. I always forget his fucking name. I always want to say Seth Green, but it's not Seth Green. It's the other redhead. Anyways, it's a damn good movie. Number 5 is The Ring. The Ring is in my top 10 scariest movies of all time. I'm going to have to do that list, but I'm fucking spoiling it. The Ring is about a little girl who was killed by her parents, but she had demonic powers when she was alive, and she comes back as a ghost and kills people using a haunted VHS tape. It's better than it sounds. I don't know how to describe it without giving it away. Number 4 is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. This is fucking awesome. It is a fantasy movie. It is a horror movie. It is a slasher movie. It's a murder mystery movie. It's a evil Catholicism movie. It's everything. It's a Dungeons and Dragons quest movie. It's fucking everything you want in a horror movie. And then some. Actual, likable, fully fleshed out characters with personalities, not just backstories. Actually fan-fucking-tastic, beautiful kills. Like, imaginative kills. Just a great fucking horror movie all the way around. Number 3, the original 1984 A Nightmare on Elm Street. This just barely edges out The Dream Warriors for a couple of reasons. One, it's my literal favorite movie of all time. And 2, it's a classic. It's the original. It's darker, it's scarier, it's got a better tone, it sets up the story. It's got Johnny fucking Depp in it. What more can you ask for? Number 2, and I recommend this one with a caveat as well. This is one of the greatest horror movies of all time. I've seen it a couple dozen times at least. But it has a brutal rape scene in it. So that might turn some people off. This is Last House on the Left, the original. I haven't seen the remake, so I can't comment on it, but the original is damn fucking good. And number 1, should not surprise anybody in the world. If you're a fan of horror, you heard it before, you're going to hear it again. Greatest horror movie of all time, The motherfucking Exorcist. Scary as shit. Creepy. Great fucking soundtrack. Iconic scenes. Just awesome fucking movie. The best of the best. You can't get better than The Exorcist. They keep trying, and they keep failing. And this was made all the way back in 1970 something. 4, 5, 2, 3, somewhere back in the fucking 70s. This movie came out before Star Wars, if that tells you anything. The literal greatest movie of all time. So yeah, they did some good stuff in the 70s. You got to give them credit for that. That's my list. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with any of these. What would you swap out? Don't forget to like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later.